Welcome to the Smart Driving Cars podcast. Thank you for taking the time with us. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with the faculty chair of autonomous vehicle engineering at Princeton University, Alain Kornhauser. Hi, Alain.
Hey, good morning, Fred.
Good morning. In this episode, Tampa adds a fleet of Tesla SUVs for a new mobility option around the city. And we have the perfect guests along for the ride with us. Former state senator in Florida, Jeff Brandes, will be joining us, and the interim president of the Tampa Downtown Partnership, Shaun Drinkard. Hi, Shaun.
Good morning. How you doing?
Terrific.
Good morning, Shaun. So nice to have you with us, and I am so jealous for what you're doing in Tampa. So it's great to have you.
Let's start with an overview of what the Downtown Partnership is doing. This service is called DASH.
Yes, so DASH stands for Downtown Area Shuttle Hubs, and it is what we refer to as a first mile, last mile transit option within the district, which the Tampa Downtown Partnership manages. The district is 1,177 acres, which equates to about 2 square miles, and we consider that 7 different neighborhoods. So this is our opportunity to connect those 7 neighborhoods and move people throughout the district without continuously getting back in your car, reparking. You can explore all of downtown with this option.
And when does this launch?
We're going to launch early October.
Give us the nuts and bolts, how it's going to work from the customer perspective here. How's
Sure.
this going to happen?
So this concept is kind of our second generation. We worked on a similar model to this a number of years ago. And the original model was a door-to-door driven concept that was app-based. So if you were anywhere in the district, you would use an app. You could call a ride. It would come to your location. It was free of charge, and then it would move you to any other location in the district. We were probably moving over 200,000 people with this concept. And ultimately, a long-term funding mechanism, along with a extremely high demand for ridership, we had to pause service. And now we have really kind of reinvented this into what we have today as Dash. And I think the major areas that will be big improvements here, one, it's a hub-based concept. So based on our previous work, we're going to have 20 plus hubs throughout the district. The technology, the app in which will be used, when you call a ride, it will send you to the nearest hub, which will probably be no more than a 2 or 3 block walk. And at that virtual hub is where you'll pick up your ride. The ride will pair people together. Vehicle holds up to 4 with the Tesla Model Y. And then we do have a small fare that we'll be announcing, what that fare looks like here real soon, but we want to align it with other transit options, make it affordable, reasonable for all to use this service and move around downtown.
Well, Shaun, I think when I tripped over your announcement somehow, or maybe Fred found it. I don't know who found it. I just went, wow, I am so jealous, because basically this is fundamental to the same concept we're trying to bring here to New Jersey. It's sort of a mobility option to be able to provide rides. As I like to say, it's much like using an elevator. I love elevators, demand responsive. Okay,
Right.
You sort of know where to go. You just hop in. You have no idea how the heck it's going to take you. Door closes, it takes you, it drops you off. You go to where you want to go, and you forget about it, and it's done. And and to me, this is people who need rides need that kind of thing. And basically, we call our concept moves, for whatever the heck move stands for, and we call these things kiosks instead of hubs. What you call hubs, but it's the same thing. Slight modification of what we think about in terms of the giving of the rides. We don't care about an app. I mean, I guess I'm anti Silicon Valley or something like that, or I'm too darn old, or who you can say whatever you want, but people show up for a ride. there are vehicles there, just like elevators are there, and there's a mechanism at the hub to say, depending on where you want to go, you get this Tesla's going to take you, or that one, and you get in. And then as soon as you're in, maybe it waits around a little bit, just like that elevator that I try to close. Nobody else can get in, but it stays open, and even somebody else gets in with me. And I say, and then all of a sudden, my goodness, might even strike a conversation and whatever. It's not a big deal. I mean, we're in the same building. We have all the same kind of interests, probably. You're in Tampa, you have the same kind of interest. You're in the downtown, you have the same kind of interest. Probably the person is perfect reflection of you. So it's not, whatever. And you just do it. And then the thing leaves, takes you, or it takes somebody, because it might take you here, and then the next person goes there in a route. Done. Now the vehicle is ready to be able to take somebody else. I mean, it's beautiful what you're putting together. I can't wait to see, how successful you are. We want to help you. We think we have some data about Tampa that you may not be aware of, not of the visitors, but of the people that live there. And fantastic. So tell us more.
Sure. So one other item that we're really excited about, and was kind of a game changer to make this work from a budget standpoint, is the Tampa Downtown Partnership. We are a management district. So within our contract with the city, we have an assessment on properties in downtown that gives us an overall annual budget for management of downtown. As part of that contract agreement, a portion of it is considered clean and safe. So we have a number of team members that are on the streets of downtown for the purpose of maintenance, litter patrol, eyes and ears on the streets. That's safety, ambassador type work. So what we have done is, in looking for a way to create a financial model for this to work, the people that are in the vehicles are also our downtown ambassadors. So we're able to pair the dollars for downtown ambassadors, which is somebody that's well-versed in what is downtown, good eyes and ears to keep, an outlook for what's happening downtown. And we see that as a great pairing for the two. So now we have probably about 15 employees that'll be in these vehicles, providing eyes and ears all throughout the district, keeping an eye on stuff, while also providing great information to anybody that's getting in the vehicle. So that's where this really works out quite well, that we're able to capitalize on a part of the service. It's called a SSD in the state of Florida, Special Service District. And through a portion of those dollars, we're allocating that towards the drivers, which is also in turn an ambassador. So when you get in this vehicle, we will pride ourselves in training these team members to give you all kinds of great information, answer your questions, whether you live, work, play, learn downtown. That'll be another asset to this service.
Well, guess what else you have? Not that, Shaun. Guess what an elevator has? Okay, an elevator. How does it get paid for? Because of the mobility that it provides to the upper floors, because otherwise, guess what you have to do? Take the steps. Okay. Sure. Yeah. So that if you look at your district and you look at who exists there, they would like to have the customer there. If you rent space on the 14th floor of an apartment, of a building, okay, you expect as part of that to have the mobility provided to get the people to get the people, a customer, whether it's fundamental. You have the same thing, not only for everything that you said. That's an addition.
Yeah.
But what's unfairly not realized by these places like this, okay, or maybe is that in fact they thrive on having people have accessibility to there. So they may have parked here because they're in parking. Who knows what? Maybe they took a train there, man. I don't know. You have trains in Tampa, don't you, or something? I guess we have in Trenton. We have a Trenton train station that's on the northeast corridor. It takes you to Newark Airport. You can get to Stad. You can get to anywhere in the world. Okay, but how the heck do you get to the train station?
Right.
All right. So in a sense, it's the same thing. And to me, this is a true last mile business.
Yep.
It's not, but it's to get you around there. And because you provide the connectivity between the places, you don't run a shuttle around the route. I hope you're not going to do that. I hope you're not going to do that. I don't want to tell you what to. So I just met you, Shaun. I'm sorry to be, but absolute. What people want is demand responsiveness.
Right.
What do you get out of an elevator? You show up, and not too much later, a thing shows up and takes you.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to have enough vehicles around there, enough people around there in the hub that you have that in fact, and then people just get in together at times when there's a lot of demand, and when there isn't, geez, you get to go by yourself.
Yep.
So in other words, it just reacts, I think, and I can't wait for you to put it out there for a test. And the test in Tesla is, why not? Okay, be nice if Elon built his robo-taxi, and maybe we could all use robo-taxis to do this or something like that. But we'll wait for Elon on that one, right? Get started with whys. Why not? Right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we're excited to launch the Tesla Model Y. We're also kind of giving it a little bit of a taxi feel, in the sense that we're wrapping them in a bright yellow. So that's also going to kind of just be, it's an indicator as well, because it's a virtual hub, so you can really identify this vehicle quickly as it comes to that virtual hub. Of
course, I mean, it's part of your pizzazz in Tampa. It's it should be part of whatever you are. You get to reflect that, and sort of our concepts with the kiosks in Trenton and in New Jersey is that the key with each kiosk, and I would suggest with each hub, is that it's unique to that neighborhood. And it should be designed by that neighborhood, and it should be reflected that neighborhood, and it should be, I don't know whether you have a little signage or whatever, who knows what it could evolve to, and it's just such a wonderful opportunity to make it a welcoming environment, so that people who need rides can just get a ride to where they want to go within that, and just do it. I don't know. That's the way we've been looking at this. And again, I am so jealous and so looking forward to you doing it. And I think you can charge for it. I don't think you should be embarrassed about it, because it does cost, but the value proposition that's there is an enormous value proposition.
Right.
And for people who can't afford it, then you have a mechanism to get them some chits or something like that, so that they can do it too, and be able to do it. But my goodness,
is there an advertising model at all involved here, Shaun?
No, we're not including any kind of advertising model at this time. The vehicle itself will just really be branded, for the project of being Dash. And just with the dollars allocated within the district, along with a little bit of a fare, we're looking at those two pieces really covering the cost of the operation.
But look, they advertised yourself.
Exactly.
This is a reflection. This is a
but I mean, I meant the businesses downtown.
And an attraction for you.
Any ability for a business, or is it, if I get in one of the vehicles and say I'm looking for a really good Italian restaurant for dinner, this is going to be the personal opinion of the ambassador / driver in telling me?
Right. So our downtown guides, we've had guides and ambassadors on the streets for about 30 years. And that's where that piece will come in, is that you jump in that car, you're heading to a certain direction, but they will have a good knowledge base on everything downtown. So they can answer those questions, give you recommendations, and so forth. Just in that sense of us providing directions and information. Another area that we're pretty excited about in the past couple of years, which we've added to the streets of downtown, we now have some digital kiosks, about 30 digital kiosks that are on the streets of downtown. It's run through a company called IKE. Everything on there is based on Google Analytics, so everything constantly updates. But if anybody's going to one of those kiosks, information on there will direct you, to anywhere you're looking to go downtown. So while there's not a direct correlation with Dash, it's just kind of like another interesting tech option of moving people around, showing them information, and we do kind of see it all tying together in a certain general sense.
Well,
Ma-
we
make
want to
sure
bring
those
we
that
want to
make-
bring in
Yeah,
Alain,
yes,
a
go
man
ahead.
who's really been a driving force here in Florida when it comes to mobility. Jeff Brandes, former state senator, and now we can see with the Florida Policy Project involved in lots of things. Thanks for joining us, Jeff.
Oh,
Yeah,
my honor.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we're all excited about what's about to happen with Dash in Tampa, and you know, what a great concept. And
Tell us your thoughts about this project from what you know of it so far.
Well, I think it's a great. I mean, it's another iteration forward. I think what we're seeing here is just them taking an idea that we've seen be successful in other markets and bringing it to Tampa and running it through the nonprofit of the partnership. And I think that's a great way to start. And it's a good it's both a conversation starter, and it continues to show that Florida's going to stay on the leading edge of technology and innovation by promoting more of the shared economy.
Describe for us what is different about the environment that you've created or you've helped to create in Florida there that it is allowing this technology and services like this to come to fruition.
Well, I think Florida has a vision for what it wants to achieve. I think that's the number one thing that makes us different than a lot of states. We know we want to be at the lead of the shared electric and automated world. We've written laws. You know, the laws of the state of Florida really reflect that. And I think the Department of Transportation leadership, and as well as city and county leadership, is reflecting that as well. And I think you can see that by groups like Dash and others.
Essentially, from what I gather, your approach has been really with the state to simply get out of the way and allow the technology to happen as long as there's the proper insurance coverage, et cetera.
Correct. We use an insurer as a regulator model. And that, I think, is what most states are going to have to move to, because they just don't have the capacity to look at the lines of codes from Zoox or a Waymo or a Cruise. And every iteration, they would never do that, nor did they have the competency to do that. And so on the automated vehicle side, we were moving that way. Florida's already the number 2 state in the country for electric vehicles, behind California. And you can see the kind of growth going on here in the state of EVs basically everywhere you look. And on the shared economy, look, I think if you talk to Uber and Lyft, they'll tell you Florida has some of the best laws in the country as it relates to kind of the shared economy, and how to operate in that environment. And so I think we have the kind of trifecta of laws, and then I think we have the DOT that's very well versed in this as well, and cities and counties that are excited about it. And then we run our own automated vehicle summit, which kind of keeps us always talking about the next big thing coming up, and that's coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Tell us a little bit more about that and what we can expect at that
Sure.
conference.
So the Florida Automated Vehicle Summit we've been putting it on now for 11 years. And we've been able to really attract what I think is probably the best automated vehicle summit in the Southeast portion of the United States. And we're kind of driving the conversation.
Best anywhere, Jeff. Best anywhere. Come on, cut it out.
It's
Go to them all.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, except for maybe mine, but
that's except for yours. I agree.
No.
But Cathie Wood's going to be keynoting for us this year. We've really excited about kind of the discussion. Obviously, her fund, ARC Investments, has kind of been at the forefront of a lot of the conversation about AI and automated vehicles. And so we think it's really important that people kind of see where the money's going and where people are placing the big bets. And so that's going to help drive the conversation. But we're also going to have a really significant conversation about eVTOL, and that's electric vertical takeoff and landing. And we have a number of companies that are going to be joining us for that. We think Florida will be the leading state for eVTOL in the country, at least for initial deployments. One, because our cities or locations are pretty close to each other, and so it may make sense to do eVTOL between those cities, and it's a reachable range. And 2, you can fly all year long without worrying about icing or weathering conditions. I mean, you got summer storms, but generally, Florida's a great place to fly all year long.
Have you taken a ride in one?
I have not been in an eVTOL yet. I'm a instrument rated pilot, and I fly a lot, but I haven't flown an eVTOL yet.
Wow, interesting. So, Shaun, tell us, are you hearing from other communities since this news has been going around about what you're doing?
Yes, no, we're definitely, other cities in Florida, even on a national level. I think for, what we do, how we are a district management organization, a lot of our other counterparts in other cities, I think will really be super interested in what this is. IDA, International Downtown Association. I know our national conference is in October, right as we're launching this. And I think that will definitely be a spectacle amongst our counterparts nationwide for how we have combined this transit project in with our existing street team and guides, ambassadors. The downtown guide is something that is kind of a very common components of district management across the country. And I think that pairing that will be something that other cities will, take interest in here pretty soon.
Shaun, have you had any conversations with Uber and Lyft to be kind of on their platform and kind of in a geofenced fashion?
No, so we have not specific with Uber and Lyft, platform that we're using. There is a geofencing component for us for this district. So we will be geofenced. We're actually using a similar platform that we used in an older model a couple of years back. So, I think as this moves forward and, technology ever changes, always excited to talk to others and see what platforms can enhance and grow this.
So along a little bit those lines, have you gotten any pushback from taxi, Uber, Lyft on what you're doing, saying, hey, yo, these are our customers?
No, we've really received, nothing but, just positive feedback. As I mentioned, this is kind of a generation 2 for us, even the generation 1 that we ran a couple of years ago. Even with that, we didn't receive any negative feedback there either. I think there was plenty of demand. And I think that these really, really short distance in respect to maybe what an Uber and Lyft is doing in some cases, I think it even kind of hits like a target, for other riders as well. So I think it's just another piece of transit options that all plays into the big picture for the region.
Are you planning to do airport runs? Obviously, the Tampa International Airport's not far from downtown; it's pretty close. Are you planning to do airport runs?
No. So for us, since this is all driven through the special service district for the Tampa Downtown Partnership, the boundaries are about a 2 square mile area, being 7 neighborhoods for downtown. So we definitely look forward to having specific hubs that tie into other transit options. We want to promote all transit options through the app and make sure that everyone kind of sees clearly that once your ride ends within the district, what your other transit options are and how you get to your next destination. We hope that the technology is going to convey that to everyone clearly.
And you've kind of explained why the drivers / ambassadors are an important part of what you're doing, but do you have interest? Or do you envision possibly using the full self-driving capabilities when it's ready within this operational design domain, as we like to say?
It's very intriguing. I'd have to be honest that I am not a savvy expert on it. But I would say that operating budget for what we're looking at in this concept, about half of the cost comes from the drivers. So there is a amenity there of their information and value. It also comes at about 50% of the cost of the project. So as technology evolves and what the future holds, super intriguing. Not something we've really ventured into yet at this point.
Yeah, but for what you're doing, Shaun, the value of those drivers is really solid. I mean, They do deliver that. They do carry their weight. At least I would think from that. So you can easily justify doing this with an attendant, with a driver on board. In fact, even improve it for what you want for the area, because the kinds of rides you're giving are just, as we were talking about earlier with elevators, it just makes that 14th floor usable. That other room, otherwise nobody's going to take the steps.
Yeah.
And is there a transit on, sorry to not be clued into Tampa, is there a transit link from one of your hubs to the airport? Is there like, does the transit system run a express shuttle every 5 minutes to and from the airport and so on between one of these things?
There is a bus line that'll get you from downtown.
Don't tell me about a bus line. Bus lines is like,
That's your option.
all day. I mean,
That's your
what
option.
is the matter with those guys?
Yeah.
I'm never. Well, what you could also suggest to them is you have a capture area that's 2 square miles of people, that the probability that they use the airport is 0.7. Okay, my goodness, guys, get a clue. Sorry. Whoops.
No, and where, I mean,
sorry, Jeff.
that's one thing that we hope is a driver for the future of transit, as Dash continues to be really a hot topic, that this can drive other discussions, outside of just what Dash is.
Because my goodness, you really provide, you actually do the last mile with this.
I think this is a great discussion for what we can do in downtown. And then whatever else can, start to feed off of this, I think will just be an asset for the whole region.
The logistics, getting the vehicles and planning for the maintenance and the cleaning, that's all pretty much set now.
Yeah. We're kind of in the final details of, branding and execution of everything on the vehicles. Again, fortunately for us, kind of in the realm of managing a fleet, managing staff, we already have that in place within the district, and we're just kind of tweaking it to this transit option. So we're about 60 days out, and we're in the hiring process for the drivers right now. We've been a week into job description being posted, and we've quite honestly been flooded with applicants. I think a lot of people are really excited about, kind of an interesting, fun job if you're a people person and looking for a interesting driving option. There's been a lot of applicants, so we are now going to start the interview process and finish out the vehicles, finish up the tech components, and we're on schedule.
Well, it sounds like another great topic for the summit coming up.
Sure, we'll be talking about it.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. And Shaun, as soon as you can share with us the locations you intend for these hubs, not that they need to be fixed, we'd like to see how those things could fit into a broader mobility option for Tampa, that would give people rides who need rides. I mean, it seems to me that what you're doing is providing a service that basically, again, as we said before, is a walk-up service. It could be a walk-up service like an elevator. You want to get to the 14th floor, to go to the elevator bank. Somehow it knows you're there. It opens the door, you get in, all that stuff. And that's just great. And we'd like to see how that could fit into a broader context for more of Tampa, as we're looking all around the country for those kinds of opportunities. Because I guess where we sit here is that people need rides. About half the rides on a daily basis we can furnish ourselves because we happen to have a car, we happen to be able to drive, we happen to not have to share the car with somebody else right now, we can drive ourselves. The other half need rides. They need a ride. They need a ride, and they'd like to go now to where they want to go. And I don't know whether or not they want to go on an app or not. And they're probably, for many of them, are able to walk. And if we do the sidewalks well, if you're in a wheelchair, you can get there. Not too far, but the sidewalks have to be improved. But you have that where you are. And so all of a sudden, this hub, as I said, we call them kiosk concept, is kind of fundamental to provide to readily providing mobility affordably to anybody. Mm-hmm. So Shaun, we're so glad we tripped over you. I just think it's great, and we'll be discussing it at the AV conference, won't we? Or
no, we're glad to share information and stay in touch along the way, because we hope that this can be a model to be an asset for other communities. We've kind of tested the water with an old concept, making some tweaks, and hopefully other cities can duplicate what we're doing here and make it even better.
Terrific.
Fantastic.
Well, you're welcome to hang in with us, or if you need to drop out, that's fine too. But we're going to look at some other headlines from the latest smart driving cars. From the Wall Street Journal, there was this headline: America's most tech-forward city has doubts about self-driving cars. The focus here, Alain, of course, is Cruise and Waymo in San Francisco.
Well, it's really unfortunate. It's unfortunate that San Francisco doesn't appreciate the mobility that those things afford. I mean, somehow I guess everybody there has a car or has somebody to take them, or is rich enough to have a chauffeur and a stretch. I don't know, but I guess not. So maybe, hey, okay, San Francisco, at least there, I think, at least as far as I'm concerned, Cruise and Waymo have done the proof of technology. This technology works. Okay, the rides that I took when I was out there and the rides that I've heard about, they weren't faked. They weren't, whatever. They just did it. All right, and they did it really well, my opinion. Okay, so I just took a couple of rides. Well, okay.
I think I'm more concerned about the future of San Francisco than I am about the self-driving car technology.
Yeah, I mean, look, come on, San Francisco. I guess you're too much you're too much into yourself, or something like that. Or maybe some of you have been too much into yourself. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, never mind. Yeah. And so, look, we'll do Tampa, right? Right,
Come on
Jeff,
down.
we'll do Tampa, we'll do
Tampa,
Tallahassee,
Miami, right.
we'll do Miami, we'll do, come on, where people will appreciate the mobility and be able to enjoy the attractions and be able to easily get from A to B and do it and if we do this, it can be affordable. Because as we heard in the previous one, 50% of the cost is the driver, at least. Okay. And and in places where you can have a driver provides value, great, do it. But in other places where if I go to Tiffany's, I think still in New York, there is an elevator operator in there. I think Tiffany's and maybe Trump Tower are the only two places where you can afford an elevator operator. Otherwise, 24/7, get in and go.
Right. No
problem. Why aren't we that way horizontally? Okay. And it's not necessarily door to door. Get out, get a little exercise, walk a little bit. Let's improve the neighborhood. So anyway, you know where we're at, Jeff, right?
Meanwhile, another headline from Slate reads, as Cruise expands to Los Angeles, self-driving's breakout moment has arrived. So this is kind of...
Well, I hope it's Los Angeles, but geez, Los Angeles, you have to be able to serve Los Angeles. And I'll say, hey,
how big is the ODD there, Alan?
Oh my goodness, it's like a zillion square miles. I mean, okay, great. If you can do it everywhere right now, please. But let's do it somewhere where it's appreciated. Okay.
And Jeff, you have robo-taxi operations going on in the state now. That can you tell us what's going on?
Well, I mean, obviously Voyage was here before they got acquired by Cruise. They were operating in the Villages. We had Argo AI here. We had Starsky Robotics here. We have a number of other operators that are operating and testing in Florida. We have SunTrax, which has been developed as a laboratory for testing AVs. And so it's, I think we're Florida is continuing to kind of be on the cutting edge of this. But I think, we're at the stage now where we're kind of moving beyond testing to deployments. And what we're looking for is permanent deployments. And I don't think they're too far away. I mean, I think they're probably, I think you're going to see announcements in the next couple of years. Obviously, Cruise just announced Nashville too. So I think you're kind of seeing the march towards Florida occur. And once they get here, I don't think they leave. I think you're going to see some permanence to these deployments. And that's what I'm really excited about. You can test anywhere, but when you make a commitment to deploy, that's the whole different level of commitment.
It's a different level of commitment. And what you need there are the customers.
Sure.
You need customers. And basically, and the numbers that we've run, you need to be able to provide something like 100-person trips per vehicle per day type of thing. You start doing that, then you can start having fares and so on to make sense. And You provide that kind of mobility so that people don't, it's not a one and done. You want a customer, no business wants a customer that's one and done. You want a customer that's going to use you 300 times a year, 1,000 times a year.
Yeah,
Okay?
other than a mortician, I would agree.
You got me there, Jeff.
Very good, Jeff.
Yeah, you got me there, Jeff.
But I agree. No, I think that's the thing. Florida has 23 million people that live here, and we have 150 million tourists. That's what's going to drive people to Florida, and that's where we think that we have the advantage. One, we have the laws. Two, we have the population and the market, and frankly, we have the experience within our Department of Transportation to have these conversations, and it isn't California.
Yeah, and if you look at your tourists, the tourists, when they come to Florida, they probably take at least 15 person trips per person. 15. Okay. So you don't want to just take them one. You want to take 15. Why not? Or 12 of them. Why not provide mobility that allows them to, hey, yeah, I want to take you. I want you to take me here. I want you to take me to Disney World. Now, maybe the car rental industry is not going to.
But the beautiful thing about them
yeah, go ahead.
They become evangelists, right?
Yeah,
they become evangelists to this technology around the world. I mean, Florida is really, for South America, we're kind of the global hub for a lot of what happens there.
Yeah.
And so they're going to take this information back to South America, to Central America. And that's what's going to help drive the deployments in those markets.
Absolutely.
Exciting. There was one other cruise headline that we didn't touch on, Alan, from Reuters. They reported that Cruise has reached the robo-taxi industry's first union agreements with two local San Francisco union chapters representing electrical workers and janitors.
Yeah, I know. Certainly in the blue states, you kind of have to do that kind of thing. I mean, you have to be a responsible member of that, and
they need people on their side there too.
Yeah, they need people. Yeah, absolutely, and they should have, and I'm glad they did, and this is good. It's you have to live and let live.
From Investor Place, you highlight a piece that says Luminar's AI push will revolutionize self-driving cars. Luminar makes LiDAR systems and has more than, I think, 4 dozen partners, including companies like Volvo and Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, and it talks about the revolution here is for automated emergency braking, and so I sort of use the article to do my pet peeve about automated emergency braking and the fact that so far it really doesn't work. It needs a whole heck of a lot of intelligence to work well, because the probability that there's a false alarm or a false positive or a false negative has to be essentially close to zero. Otherwise, people will clip the wire and they won't use it and whatever. And it has to be on all the time, and it has to marry seamlessly with intelligent cruise control. And of course, my pet peeve on that is if I tap my brake on intelligent cruise control, it turns the thing off. I mean, how could it turn it off? And of course, automated emergency braking system these days doesn't come on until it's 1.6 seconds till collision or whatever. And then what does it do? Slams on the brakes. And there's this chasm between these two things. Those things should be seamless. They should be talking together. Talk about artificial stupidity that's gone into both of those two systems today. Cut it out. Let's just put first some intelligence into it, and maybe we can put some artificial intelligence. But let's get the artificial stupidity the heck out of it.
And then they are talking about putting these in vehicles for private ownership. This is not just
for my car,
etc.
For my car, I tap the brake and intelligent cruise control goes off, says, hey, yeah, I'm not going to brake you anymore. If I didn't hit the brake hard enough, it doesn't do anything else until I'm 1.6 seconds into collision. I'm about to die. Thank you. Thank you for taking that hot potato and throwing it. I don't want it.
Alan, another company called
You got to make this clear to folks sometimes.
I think you
I'm
do.
sorry.
I think you do. Another company, NuView, NuView, is aiming to use LiDAR that is space-based to map the Earth in 3D. They've announced $12 million in funding. Doesn't sound like a great deal, but maybe enough.
Yeah.
And
well,
the investors here include Leonardo DiCaprio, it said.
yeah. So, I mean, yeah, LiDARs have had, LiDARs are not, could be popular, should be popular. And yeah, another good application.
On the Tesla front, Rob Maurer has talked about new rumors surrounding Tesla Highland production. I think that's the new Model 3, the new version of the Model 3.
Yeah.
Also, Pepsi has confirmed over 450 miles of range for its Tesla semis that are using less than 1.7 kilowatt hours per mile. That sounds pretty interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I of course love Rob, and I think he has a very good report. I just listen to him. I just putting that out to people to take a look at. Jeff, what do you drive?
I have a Model S. I have a 2018 Model S.
I know. I mean, yeah.
There's another Tesla story here too, which is you both may find pretty interesting. Clean Technica reports that Tesla is expanding as a retail electricity provider, offering vehicle owners in Texas unlimited overnight charging for vehicles or Powerwall batteries for $25 a month. It says the plan uses electricity through sustainable energy sources. That doesn't sound like a bad deal, I suppose. Jeff, as an owner, what do you think?
Listen, I mean, I think Tesla's charging network is a substantial portion of that company's value. And now that people have moved to the kind of the North American charging standard, you're going to see that grow exponentially. My local supercharger is virtually always full. And so with the amount of vehicles they're selling, they're about to, exponentially grow their supercharging network. As well as other people adopting this. It's a substantial value.
I guess the overnight thing for $25 a month, this means in your home, I suppose.
Oh, you can charge in your home for $25 a month?
Right, unlimited.
Oh,
overnight.
Your car. Look, I mean, that's, again, I think it just shows that they're driving value in that space of their charging network, right? It's not just a car company, it's an energy company. And
not just your home, but they're saying if you have a Powerwall battery, you can run your home also off of this battery for $25 a month to charge it overnight.
That will be very disruptive to the to the entire industry if that ultimately plays out that way. Because everybody in Texas start cooling their house down to about 60 degrees at night.
Look, anybody who has a kid in the basement playing video games all night long is going to get one of those things and go nuts, right? I mean, you kidding me?
We'd be killing off penguins in my house if we could. I mean, we'd be turning the air down all the way and, just let it heat up during the day, but it'd be cold and early in the morning, that's for sure.
Jeff, do you have a charger in your garage?
I do.
Okay.
I don't have a Powerwall.
To me, for some reason, this past week, I came over the revelation that I think anybody Tesla selling an electric car should also bundle in a charger for your garage if you happen to have a garage. If you're an apartment dweller, it's tough. It takes the range anxiety issue completely off the table. Okay, I think, and completely changes any discussion about range anxiety. Oh my goodness, charges up every night. Yeah, I might not be able to go to grandma's house, but to have that bundle in and not to do this with now getting the revenue flow from the electricity. Electricity at night is cheap. Okay, unless you have an aluminum factory in the neighborhood that runs 24/7 because it's not being used. And in some places, the wind is blowing. Okay, sun's not shining, but the wind's blowing. They don't know what to do with it. Okay. And so, you know, if you look at the cost of electricity, when it's expensive and so on, it varies throughout the day. So in a sense, taking advantage of that and basically locking a home in. I mean, to me, I think it's brilliant of Tesla to do that. And as you say,
Well, they do want to sell you the charger for your home too. They're not bundling it in.
okay,
I
so
guess they
charge
could,
me.
but they'd be bumping up the price of the vehicle.
well, so make it
Yeah.
$40 a month or whatever, and have that bundled in. Who knows? They'll figure that out. I am
Yeah,
not
well,
worried about them
we did
figuring
hear
that
an
out.
interesting
Okay.
thing when we were at the Holman Emerge conference this past week. Alan, you and I were both there, and there are companies. There was at least one there that is working with dealerships to essentially sell these charging sell the charging equipment along with the vehicles. So it's at the point of sale, and they're out at your house putting in the charger by the time the EV is delivered.
Yeah, I don't know why the power companies just aren't providing them. Like, it just seems to me like it's a no-brainer for them to just give you a grant or give you a credit and have you, or offer to have somebody install them in your home. That it just seems like a very, very simple thing for them to do, is provide as a service. Is you just get a voucher for your power company to install them as soon as you get your car.
Right. And it could be bundled in. And if people really want incentives to have EVs, really accepted in the market, this is the way to do it. Absolutely. So anyway, really good, exciting things happening. Jeff,
there
really looking forward to the Florida AV Summit coming up in I guess 3 weeks, 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah. And we'll be there, and looking forward to it. It'll be, as usual, fantastic.
It'll be great. It'll be great.
Great to see you again, Jeff.
All right. Thanks, Fred.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot, Jeff. Have a great day. Okay. Thanks.
And we want to thank Shaun Drinkard from the Tampa Downtown Partnership for joining us today, too. You can find us at smartdrivingcar.com, also on Spotify, TuneIn, Apple, Google, Amazon, wherever you turn to for podcasts. Smart speakers can play us, too. My Tech Reports are at textination.com. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with Alain Kornhauser. Thanks for listening or watching. Please continue to stay safe.
And thank you, everybody.